what is your position on immigration reform? What do you think? Where do you think we should go? And do you support what ICE and President Trump are doing right now?
Well, Darius, thank you for inviting me to your program. And gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to bring this conversation forward. Look, I'm an immigrant to the United States. The immigration discussion strikes very close to my heart. I came to the United States at a very young age. When I came to the United States, English was a second language. I came from Mexico. I became a naturalized citizen. I was a farm worker who grew up in the orchards and learned the value of hard work. My parents were there alongside me, and they provided me the love and support that I needed. And immigration was a reality that we grew up with. I was blessed with the opportunity of going in the Marine Corps that really changed my life. And the Marine Corps sparked a reality that connected me to the values that were what my parents had taught me, which was hard work and sacrifice in this country creates opportunity. And I will tell you that availed an opportunity that opened the door for me to go to school, be introduced to the ROTC program, where I was introduced to the Army, got commissioned, served for 23 years, got to teach at West Point. I got to mentor the next generation of leaders. And the reason I think that's so important, and then after the military, serve as a CEO for the last 10 years in a community where working shoulder to shoulder with our veterans and civic-minded leaders in helping with scouting and programs that serve our community, we've seen a blessing of just exponentially grow when neighbors help neighbors and our community serves our community. I share that with you because that's an immigrant story where immigration is a very much important part of it. I believe in the dignity of the conversation. I believe the conversation needs to change where the hyperbolic aspects of it, where one side really doesn't communicate the true story, needs to change. With regards to immigration, I first and foremost thank the support of our law enforcement officers who are out there enforcing the laws. They didn't make the laws, they're enforcing the laws, and they're putting their lives in danger. And I think we need to remember that these are people who are trying to do our bidding, the American public's bidding. And so what I see is a conversation where our elected officials who have not addressed it, that is where the conversation needs to be focused at. Holding our elected officials accountable to having a conversation that creates some options. And what those options are really look forward to seeing what the national debate is and how the House discusses it. But does it need to be addressed? I absolutely agree it needs to be addressed.
Council member Miguel Arias was on this show a few weeks ago, and he said any member of Congress that does not support comprehensive immigration reform should resign or should be booted out of office, because this is an issue that has been plaguing our country. What do you think immigration reform, what should it look like?
Well, I think what the president is dealing with right now is a response to what he inherited first and foremost, and he's addressing that. I think that there are options that are not foreign to this country. We had them before. Something like the Bracero program that creates opportunities, that creates an option where folks who don't want to live here but want to be able to work and be able to traverse our border legally could have that option. And then where there's a pathway to citizenship, that is a dialogue that can be brought up. But the reality is that we need to create something that is tangible, and it creates answers where there is a legal process that people can follow and that can be articulated, and we understand what that is. And that's what's not existing right now.
What would you do with those folks that are in hospitality and construction and mowing our lawns and picking up fruit and vegetables? What would you do with those folks? Do you support deporting them, or do you say we have to figure out a way of, what would you do, actually? Let me just ask that question.
Well, first of all, this is not something new. having the opportunity to go back to the country of origin and be able to apply for a process where they can come back here legally, I think that is what protects the dignity. And where people are being afforded to self-deport and are afforded a stipend upon the return, that's something that we never had before. But yet that would provide an incentive for folks to self-deport
Okay.
and do this safely and legally.
There's a lot of folks that say our laws are broken. We're enforcing laws, but immigration, we need updated immigration reform. By the end of the day, if there's not enough demand in our country for workers that we cannot fill here, then folks are going to come in here. If there was no jobs, all these folks came over, they can't get employed, and they couldn't get public services for free, then why are we coming to the United States?
But we
Job,
should also not
yeah,
make it so difficult to be able to get a job. My children can't get a job unless they have a certain GPA and get a pass and a permit from the school to allow them to work. But yet we are supposed to condone the behavior where children undocumented and unaccompanied, that is okay to be out there working. We can't have these dual standards and we can't exploit that reality. The reality is there's work and there's dignity in work. We got to create more opportunities to see all of our Americans have a job. My children have a hard time finding a job, and that's unacceptable. Our Americans should not be having that difficult time finding a job. And at the same time, say have an argument that says we don't have enough employees, so we have to import. Let's make sure that every American has a job, and let's create pathways that allow for folks who want to come and work. Our ag industry needs good, reliable work. And that's why we had systems a while back in the early 30s. Many of the folks in our valley are benefactors of the Bracero program. Why can't we go to something like that that creates a pathway, creates dignity in the process to make sure that those who come here are going to be cared for and not abused, and they have the opportunity to go back home and serve and take care of their families? We have to create that, but we've got to stop with casting blame but not getting the work done. I'm saying let's get the work done, and let's get those laws that if they're broken, then how is it that any legislator can go home and say, well, the laws are broken? Well, then what have you done? There has to be a legal process. That's one. And an executive order is a band-aid that, quite frankly, the our house, this is a law, this is a land of laws. Let's address the laws and let's give the president something he can sign and put into place that represents what is the will of the people. To kick the can down the road is unacceptable. There is a need, and I think that Reagan's comments still ring true today. That hasn't changed. But this idea of an executive order is not the answer. The answer is holding our electeds accountable to do their job, and to say that the laws are broken is not an answer. It's about getting the laws to represent the will of the people and give the president something that he can sign and put in so that we can actually see this process work.
Measure C. So it's been around since, 1986. It's a half a cent. The big debate is this, and if I can boil it down in a nutshell, the big debate is this, is that Darius, you're a successful home builder. Would you add on to your house if the rest of your house was falling apart? That's the question.
Yeah, no.
You
gotta
don't.
fix. Yeah.
You fix, and the hardest and the most expensive thing, and I know that you've got multiple properties, and I've got a few, and the cost of ownership is in maintenance. I know Bill's here online too. I don't know if you can throw him in the three pictorial here, but
Yeah.
he's got rentals and he's got other things. The cost of ownership is maintenance. It's maintenance. And what we've done here in the city and the county is we've foregone maintenance. We build new stuff, but we don't maintain what we have. So Jerry asked me and a couple others to represent City of Fresno on the Measure C committee. Currently, they spend about 22 to, 24 cents for every dollar goes to a bus. Nobody rides the bus. Nobody's riding the bus. I get calls all the time saying, hey, I see 3 people on the bus. But you ask anybody that you ask the people at the city of Fresno, they go, well, we did 10 million trips last year. Well, you just did 10 million trips and just literally beat the hell out of the roads with nobody on the bus. That's what you did, right? There's not that many riders. I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm saying lower the price in which we're lower the cost of funds in which we're distributing to the buses to maybe, let's just say it's a dime. Let's give them 10 cents and raise the value of the proportionment into roads of maintenance. Anybody that drives these roads knows that it is a absolute nightmare to try to drive and not get pulled over for your DUI because you're dodging potholes. The guy thinks you're drinking. It's that bad. So the what happens? So what happens is you have a committee that say, let's just say it's 18 or 20 people that were appointed by mayors and supervisors and city council. Well, here comes the 12, the 12 crazies from Ashley's NGO over there, and you've got
Hold on. Who's Ashley for the
well,
audience?
the old mayor that thinks she's currently the former mayor. Thinks she's the former mayor that thinks she's the present mayor. Okay.
Ashley
Then you've got,
Swearingen. Okay.
pardon me.
Ashley Swearingen. Is
That's
that
correct. Then
okay.
you've got the Celadon crowd, the Sandra Celadon crowd, who's running for House Representatives for the state of California, that wanted to burn down the police department. That gal, she has people that. So what happens is these two people to get together and they appoint 12 of their like-minded, crazy people to get on this committee and weigh out the voting process of how we should spend our dollars. Now, do they have legal authority to say, yeah, this is the way it's going to go? We're voting now, and we think 70% should go to planting trees. No, they don't have that ability. At the end of the day, it's still we give suggestions. It goes through COG, Council of Governments. It goes through the whatever the other
FCTA, Fresno County Transportation Authority. Yeah.
Whatever they do, nobody knows what they do, but whatever they do, okay. Then it gets to the County Board of Supervisors, and they go, yes, we will put it on the ballot, and we have to get 66 2/3, or they'll go, no, we won't put it on the ballot. Okay, that's what's going to happen. 5 of these supervisors are going to vote to whether you put it to the ballot. I'm going to tell you right now, if you offered free ice cream for 10 years, you're not going to get 66 2/3 to vote for it in this county. No possible way. Nobody can agree on anything in this county, particularly with 66 2/3. But I will tell you that 58% of the people south of Shaw voted for 2022 Measure C, what was on there that didn't pass. Okay, that is the Building Healthy Community crowd down there. Who didn't vote for it was north of Shaw. Why didn't they vote for it? Because of some crazy kook with a cat named Steve Brandow came out and said, don't vote for this thing. They didn't vote for it because North Fresno did not vote for this thing. They didn't come out. They thought it was a tax. They don't realize that either vote to maintain this tax, and nobody likes taxes, but either you vote for it or we need to import more dentists because we're losing teeth when our tires are falling in these potholes. That's the reality of the measure. So what has to happen here? We have to reallocate the percentage of money that needs to go into fixing potholes, fix the damn roads. That ought to be the website that you can go to. It's not yet. Maybe it will be. I'm not suggesting I'll do it. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I'm not sure. I know I sunk Measure E when those no good whats decided that they were going to fill their own pockets. But I'll tell you that if we can't get to a number, a 75, 85, 90% that's going to fix roads and give the lion's share to the people that are paying for it, then we're going to have a real problem. Because if you've got 550,000 people in Fresno, another 150,000 people in Clovis takes you to 700,000. Let's just say you have another 100,000 people sitting in the unincorporated areas of the city of Fresno, meaning Old Fig and different places, right? Well, now you're at 800,000 people. You only got 1.1 million in the whole county. Why aren't we getting the lion's share? Why are we sending money to Mendota that has 12,500 people? It needs to be equally proportioned per population or miles driven or something. There has to be a formula. But I'll tell you, the equation has to be flipped. And it has to be flipped in the way that we allocate the money for where it goes. Now, that being said, we still have to have money for the interchanges or for the highways or for the freeway interchange. Why? Because we get a twofer. You put up $1, federal government puts up $1. Or you put up $1, county puts up $1, state puts up $1, and the federal government puts up $1. So you get matching funds. So we have to allocate some of that. Now, am I saying, oh my God, oh here's what we got to do. We got to do all roads. No. Go look at what Dwight Kroll did for the city of Clovis in the early 90s, middle 90s, when he had the genius idea. The city planner had the idea, let's build walking trails. Go look at what he did there. It was so successful, the city of Fresno copied it. You got to have walking trails. You got to have it. You got to have sidewalks that go to schools and are connected. You got to have trails that you could ride your bike to the hospital. And you got to have curb and gutter in front of, and sidewalks in front of hospitals. I mean, those are necessities of things you got to do. These are common sense ideas. This isn't some crazy thing. But what they want to do is, hey, I want 50% for buses that nobody rides. What road are they going to drive on? Because there's not going to be one left. I want a monorail to Mendota. Good luck. Good luck with that. I want to do the trolley car. Right? I want to do the trolley car downtown. How about we just buy a clown car? Because that's
Well,
really
wait a minute. The city of Fresno, and I've talked to the mayor on this program, is spending close to $1 million a year on a trolley from Fresno State to downtown. Right now, our taxpayers are paying at the million. I've asked the mayor on this program, what's the benefit of, why are we doing it from Fresno State to downtown? But I can't remember the response he gave.
In Texas, it's $6.50 for a Tesla to take you downtown.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. Kids, okay. Let me tell you something. And university students, they don't ride the bus. You know what they do? They Uber.
There we go.
They don't ride the bus. They're not riding bikes. Most of them aren't riding bikes. They Uber. It's $7. It's $9. They ride the bus. The bus has a place, but it's a dinosaur, and we've outgrown it. And now we need to. And now we need to figure out how we're going to fix this problem.